Hey, wanna know what I love? I love when I can answer people's questions when it comes down to health and fitness stuff, and it's really cool when I can kind of get an aha moment from them, specifically because I think it goes into some clarity and it goes into some thoroughness when it comes down to something that they think they're doing right, they're not sure, but they just kind of needed some help in that area. So I get a lot of aha moments when I get a lot of questions asked and I can answer them and really be able to help them to whoever asked. However, there are some specific questions that I get asked, and they tend to be the most frequently asked questions, and that is what I want to go into in this video here. My most frequently asked fitness related questions. I'm going to answer them here. Check this out. Adrian, what can I eat after a workout? That's a fair question, and that's actually a really good question. I think that sometimes people know, but they just want it to be confirmed, which is totally okay. I would say, for sure, hands down, have some protein. Where can that come from? Let's say you work out in the morning, and I think eggs are a great go-to. Some of your whey protein, if you have some, that's usually a good go-to. I would say more than anything, a fast digesting protein. So that's why I mentioned eggs and like whey protein. But a fast digesting protein is definitely key. It helps to just improve the recovery process or aid and the recovery process, and also to rebuild muscle tissue that was broken down during exercise. There's something called catabolism, and which means that the muscles break down during exercise. So there's another thing called, or another phase called anabolism, which means to build back up. So that happens when we can have some protein, some fast digesting proteins. Have some protein. That is the number one thing and the best thing to have post-workouts. You may hear other people actually say carbohydrates, which I'm not against. Yes, you can have some carbs to replace glycogen levels that was lost because it's the main source of energy. So replenishing what was lost in the body. And my all-time favorite question, isn't whole wheat better than white bread? I'm generally not a fan of bread. I'm not like a sandwich eater generally. I don't really have a lot of bread just because it's a cheap carbohydrate source. But here's the thing. There are options from wheat that are more whole grain, and they include just more nutrients in them, a little bit more fiber. So that is generally a better option to go to, I would say, because it would be digesting slower in the body and would not give you a blood sugar spike as white bread would, or anything like white pasta, things like that. So definitely a whole grain, yes, would it be better? But however, here's the thing. If, for example, if somebody had high amounts of inflammation in the joint areas, or if I was working with somebody who had arthritis, I would say absolutely no wheat at all, whether it's whole wheat or white, doesn't matter. I would cut it out completely out of their diet because some research has shown that it does flare up inflammatory pain. So I would cut it out of their diet absolutely, and increase their healthy fats, and change out the bread for other sources of carbohydrates. And diabetics also, I would say, to monitor the amounts of bread that they have because of the glucose spike that can happen. So it's just about monitoring it for sure. But yes, I do think that wheat is a little bit better, or whole wheat is a little bit better. However, they both still come from wheat flour, and I think that's not what I'm a big fan of. A lot of research has shown that it just flares up a lot of inflammatory pain and other side effects that I'll just kind of go into another video on, because I can talk all day about wheat and wheat flour and what it does and how it's different today than it was 50 years ago. I learned so much about wheat from this book, and I've been just researching it, and I applied some of the stuff to it, and it's really helped me a lot, and also some of my clients. So it's been some really good stuff. So yes, I think it is slightly better. However, have it in moderation, and see me if you have any other questions regarding that. Next question. Here we go. Another question I get asked is what I eat in the morning. It's really not anything special, I don't think. I eat a lot of eggs. I really do. I either put eggs in my shakes or I just eat whole eggs with some oatmeal on the side. In fact, I did a video on how I make my oatmeal. You guys gotta check it out. It's really delicious. Also, I did a video on the shake that I make. So I will redirect you guys to those videos to see how to make them. But I either have my shake or I have my eggs with my oatmeal on the side. It's really delicious. I'm all about eating like good food, you know. I think that food should be delicious. I mean, we live in America where there's just so much accessibility to some delicious food. So I really do think that food should be good. I don't think that food should be boring. It can be healthy and delicious, you know. And a very famous question, how do I get rid of my belly fat? Fair question. I think it's a really good question. It's funny because when I get asked this question, people ask just very bluntly, like it's almost kind of out of sarcasm and they kind of casually ask, but I think it's a very serious question that people want an answer to. So here's what I tell them. I tell them we cannot spot reduce. The body does not know that. The body does not know, okay, burn fat in the belly region. The body does not know that. We have to burn fat all over. So we have to exercise intensely. So great sources are high intensity intervals and such, and so really focusing on the body as a whole, because the body is a whole, and not just focusing on reducing certain areas of fat and on the body. However, I do think that by focusing on an area may promote fat loss around that area, because it builds with the muscle muscle burns fat, sorry. So I think that may help. But I think just focusing in the belly region is not generally the way to go. So you really want to focus on reducing the body fat all over. And you may even notice certain areas where you feel like you have the most body fat. You may notice those areas less in terms of like its progression, but that's just because that's where you carry the most fat. So you got to be patient, you really do. So no spot reduction and be patient. What can I take for more energy? You may think that I have, you know, all these products and stuff, but I really don't. I'm gonna take you guys back to sleep. So I believe that if our sleep is off and we're not getting enough sleep and we're using a stimulant as a pick-me-up to really push the body, I think that's hazardous. If the body is not well rested, I think it's hazardous for the body. I think it pushes its limits a little bit too far. However, if we're sleeping well and still need to pick me up, I think that's generally okay because our body can tolerate it. I stick to caffeine. I have a pre-workout before I go on my workouts, and I just kind of feel like that pre-workout, like honestly, just carries me out through the rest of the day. And sometimes I'll have coffee a little bit later on, but caffeine is generally a good go-to. I like to have green tea sometimes, black tea sometimes. Just kind of depends. But caffeine is usually a good go-to. However, I will take you back to sleep again. I think that should be the focus area first if you're looking for more energy. When I get asked that question, I usually ask that follow-up question. I say, well, how are you sleeping? And then usually it's bad because that's just most people. But I think caffeine is usually a pretty good go-to. I don't have any special products at the moment right now that I could think of, but that's usually a pretty good source and generally okay. Plus, most energy drinks actually do have caffeine, so that's why I say caffeine usually a good way to go. Hey, if you know anybody who needs to hear these answers for these questions, please share this video with them. I know that it will be some great content for them. Also, if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe just for some more great content to come. If you haven't visited my site yet, visit my site for some more content, some great stuff on there as well, theneighborhoodtrainer.com, and follow me on Instagram, @AdrianSeja_. Search me on Facebook. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. God bless.